Right, hey guys, we're back again with another banging show, and today we have the lovely Danelle Gabriel down, who is a child author and has written and published a child's book called Naya Moon Travels the World. So she's here today. We're going to give her we're going to be interviewing her very shortly. We're also going to give you some more insight on some more Black inventors. We are also going to speak about some missing Black people and put some shed some light on that. And we've also going to cover some topics. One being young Philly being charged for SA in Australia. And the next one, which has slipped my mind, which was what does Black History Month mean to you? Kind of, or to us, kind of thing, in our own words. So yeah, so we're going to start first with the beautiful Danelle, and we're going to go straight into the interview. Okay, so, 1 second. Testing. Okay, cool. Right, so the book in question is this book. In fact, I'm not going to show it yet because then it blows up some of my questions. So. Right, okay, so what is the name of the book?
So the book is called Naya Moon Travels the World.
I can talk about it. Could this camera see it? Okay, so this is the book for people to see. Okay. Right, so how did you come up with the name for the title of the book? Like, is there any significant meaning behind it or any reason why it was called what you called it?
Naya Moon. So initially the name was different, but there was another book out that had the name Aya. So initially it was supposed to be called Aya Moon Travels the World. But then there was another children's book with the same name Aya, and just because I didn't want any type of confusion, I changed the name to Naya Moon.
Slightly different.
Yeah. And the reason why I chose Aya is because of the meaning for the name for me. It just meant abundance and all that. And that's what I wanted for the book, but I had to change it. So I settled for Naya because it sounds like Aya.
Yeah, very similar.
And I have an affinity to the moon. So I thought, let me just put that in there. And then so because of the contents of the book, what the book is about, Naya Moon Travels the World.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. That's kind of cool still. And what inspired you to write a book in the beginning? Like, was there anybody or any reason, any specific reason that inspired you?
So I've always wanted to write a book, albeit not a children's book, but I saw myself writing a novel or a poetry book. But I started writing the children's book because my goddaughter at the time was quite young. She's now 14, but at the time she was very young. She was like 5. And every time it was Christmas or birthday, I would get her a book and something else for those occasions. I always wanted to get her a book. And then I searched high and low for children's book with Black characters. And at the time, there wasn't many. You know, most of it came from America. And what I found is that when I did find one, it was a lot of stuff surrounding kids and their hair. So it's children's books about them, you know, handling their hair, which is good because I think that's needed,
of course,
to a certain extent. But I wanted to create a character that was carefree and did not talk about the issues of, you know, having afro hair, but just a little black girl living her best life. And that's what I created consciously. However, when I was telling my mother that, you know, I'm in the process of writing a book and I told her what the book was about, she said to me, when you was younger, I was 4 years old. So I grew up on the island of St. Lucia in a small fishing village.
Right, okay.
And as a 4-year-old, I told my mum that I wanted to travel the world. Now, saying that to my mum, as I said, we lived in a fishing village. At the time, we didn't even have like running water in our house.
Many opportunities
or electricity
on display.
Right. So a 4-year-old telling their mum they want to travel the world was insane.
Thinking, but it's very good, yeah.
Yeah. So when she told me that, I said, "Oh, so subconsciously I was writing about myself," and I didn't know. I wasn't aware.
Well, that was going to be one of our questions as well.
Yeah.
Like, can you relate to the character? And
100%.
clearly, without even knowing it, you did. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
It was a dream that came through.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? In later life, kind of thing. So, like, is there any specific favorite parts that you have in the book?
I think overall, the whole book I enjoy, but I think obviously her traveling the world in particular, I think maybe there's one part in the book where she goes to Iceland and she dances under the Northern Lights, and that's one of my dreams, to go to Iceland and dance under the Northern Lights. So yeah, that was part of it. I think that was probably my most favorite part of the book.
So, like, can you tell us of, like, any difficulties when writing the book or trying to get this book published that you faced or that you had?
So generally, I think it was believing in myself, because this book was years in the making, which is why I said my goddaughter is now 14.
Of course, yeah. You said she was 5 when you started, so that's like some 9 years.
And this book was published in 2019. So it was a lot to do with me having confidence in my writing. A lot of the time I would write it and then put it down, and then months later or a year later I'd go through and I'd be like, oh, this is really good. Like, why did I put it down?
Yeah. And then even more inspiration.
Right. And then I'd go through that cycle a couple of times, and then eventually, with the help of friends and family, they were just like, Dana, long things, just like get this book done and just publish it. So that was the hardest bit. Now, in terms of, because it's self-published, it was difficult, but at the same time I gained skills while doing that, because then I learned how to use Photoshop. I learned what it entails to self-publish a book, because it's a lot, it's your own money,
of course,
that you have to put into that.
Right.
Which I got a lot of help from family and friends, because I set up a GoFundMe, and I was able to get a certain amount of money to get the books printed and whatnot. So yeah, self-publishing is difficult, but I enjoy the fact that there's an opportunity out there for people to get published that's not down the traditional route, because, and to be fair, I didn't try the traditional route because I just thought that nobody would want to publish my book. But that's a me thing. I didn't try. So I just said, let me do it myself.
So would you know if the traditional route is not paying, or like, so if someone believes in it, they would fund it?
Right.
Or
So the traditional route would be, I get a literary agent, and because I can't just approach a publisher and be like, publish my book, it's not really becoming. So you'd have
if it's good, you can, if they take the time to read it and they think, wow, this is,
you have to go through an agent. You have to get a literary agent.
Okay.
And then
so it's not like music, you could just drop a mixtape to one of the artists and then hopefully,
right.
You know what I mean?
But this is why
the book is longer to read, so.
Right. Exactly, which is why self-publishing is amazing, because you don't have to go through all these red tapes. You could just be like, oh, well, let me do this myself, but it's a lot of money, it's a lot of time. And when you go down the traditional, you have people doing things for you. So I do everything. I did the writing, the formatting, the marketing. So it's a lot of work.
And you learned, did you say you learned these things? So
yes, I learned all those things. I gained skills doing that. So that was amazing.
Some of the questions you answered already. So, like, when you're thinking about writing a book, what is like your thought process? Like, how do you prepare yourself, or where do you get ideas from? I know you just said a minute ago that this first book took a long time to write, and so obviously that took some time. So over the time, you're probably going to get ideas and inspiration from other places. You're gonna, But is there a way that you prepare yourself when you're going to write a book, or a certain mindset you have? Yes.
So I think for me generally, writing does not come easy to me. Like, if you're a writer, I've heard some writers say, it's easy. It's not easy for me. And I think a lot of the time it's because I'm a little bit of a perfectionist. And as I say, my background isn't children's book. It's poetry. It's short stories.
Yeah.
And those things, like the poetries and the short stories, they're quite dark. So when I'm writing a children's book,
it's a different level altogether.
It's a different level altogether. You have to be all fairy.
It's a different crowd,
Exactly. So that was, but I mean, if you know me as a person, like, I'm always kind of like try to be giddy and make things up, and try to be fun in the way that I did it.
You're creative.
Yeah. So when I first started writing this book, it started as prose. So it was just a story. It didn't rhyme or anything like that. And then I thought, because I work with kids, at the time I was working with kids, and I was like, no, this needs to be fun. This needs to be like Julia Donaldson, because Julia Donaldson, she's a children's book author, and she's amazing. She did like the Gruffalo and the Witch in the Hat and stuff. So I love her
those
stories.
Books grab you,
yeah, those groups, right?
I don't know
and
why,
it's rhyming because of the rhyme scheme,
and maybe the pictures and everything.
So I was
together.
like, no, this book needs to rhyme so it can capture children's minds, and as well as the illustrations, because the illustration was another thing, because I found someone who brought my little drawings
Ideas
to life.
Yeah.
So that was really good, because I really wanted her to be like this little island girl with, with the little bubbles and, and all that stuff. So I really needed somebody who understood what I wanted. So it was a black illustrator, so that was good. But yeah, the writing part, it's hard. I'm not going to lie. I did have writer's block. But
okay, so when you wrote the book, you didn't actually have a story or have the whole story in your head. You was kind of like doing it as you was going along.
Yes. So I got it in bits and drabs. So it's almost like free forming. So I just sat down and just started writing, and then the storyline came to like, oh, a little girl that travels the world. Yeah. And then so I was like, okay, how am I going to make this sound very interesting? Because the book is essentially about a little girl astral projecting in her sleep.
Yeah.
So she's going to sleep, but it doesn't say that in the book, but that's essentially what it is. She's going to sleep, and she gets to travel around all these little worlds, all around the world. So, so I wanted to kind of like say that without saying that. And I think I kind of did that.
I feel like you delivered that message definitely in there as well. So I was going to ask you like, how do you market the book? But actually you said... you said you built up in the beginning. You built up a GoFundMe account.
Yes.
Is that Instagram. The only way that like you kind of like put your book out? Well, put the idea out there,
right?
And put it out there that you would need you could do with some help type of thing.
Yeah. So when you do like GoFundMes, generally you get much funding from people that you know and not strangers. And I think because the people around me really believed in my book,
and they feel you and know your story,
right?
So
they were just like, we're going to help you do this. And they did that. And then once I created this book, once it was done, it was the marketing bit. And the marketing bit was very difficult, because the book was published in 2019. It came out in 2019 and it did all right. It had little traction. It was okay. And then the pandemic happened. Right. The pandemic happened. Well, no, it was amazing for me. So you would think that but it was amazing for me. The George Floyd incident happened, and
yes, so did this help to push the book out?
Right. So to the point where the book was number 3 on multicultural stories for children on Amazon.
Where was it before? Like
it wasn't Amazon. It was before. It wasn't even listed. It was just on Amazon, and while I got a few stuff. If people bought, I went to market stalls to, sell my books, and I was satisfied, because I always said, if it's only one child that take my book and read it and be like, yes, I'm satisfied. Right. So when the pandemic happened, and I put it out in a Facebook group, and it just blew up to the point where Beverly Knight, and I remember
this. Yes. That was so good. Did she read it or to I can't remember what happened.
Let me tell you the story. So I put it on a black Facebook group on Facebook.
Right, yeah.
And the person came back to me and said to me, "Oh, this looks amazing. I've bought it, but I'm gonna see if I can do something for you." And at the time, I didn't even know who that was. It was just a woman, and I was like, "Oh, great, thank you for supporting me."
Yeah.
This, that, and the other. And then a week or two later, she messages me back and she says, "Oh, you know that thing I said I might be able to do for you? I've done it." So I was like, "Oh, okay, what is it?" And then she sent me a link, and Duchess Sarah Ferguson was reading my book on her YouTube page.
Wow.
And it was
I didn't know that part.
Yes, and it was read by Beverly Knight. And I was and it was then that I realised, oh my God, I've been talking to Beverly Knight, and I didn't even know. And I said, "Oh my God, you're Beverly Knight."
Was it her that said she's gonna?
Yes, and I didn't even know.
Like to the third person.
I didn't even know, because it was a different. She goes by a different name on Facebook. So I guess obviously it's for her family and friends and whatnot. So she goes by a different name on Facebook.
Look at that.
And I was like, Beverly Knight? And then so it was on Duchess Sarah Ferguson's YouTube page. Beverly Knight was reading it, and she said she really enjoyed the book. It reminds her of herself when she was younger.
Exactly, yeah.
And so it was just so amazing. And then from then it just went off. It was number 3 for multicultural stories on Amazon, and number 8 for travel stories on Amazon. So yeah, it did such good.
I'm so sorry. I've been.
Okay.
I wasn't ignoring you guys. Sorry, but I was just getting into the conversation. So there was like some people, like some commentary.
Okay.
So D. Alex said the time it's taken to write the book really illustrates to never give up and follow your dreams. Most definitely.
100%.
And if you know, like Danelle, she's a strong person still. She perseveres. You know what I mean? And so D. Alex said, "Well done." And then I hope I'm saying it right. It's Elaine.
Yeah.
And she said, most definitely, congratulations. And then David Allen says, hey, and hey, David, what are you saying? Yeah. Okay, that's really good.
I
haven't seen you put that up anywhere, where you've got the video. Do you not have it?
Of
the lady reading,
yeah,
reading.
It's on my Instagram. It's on the Naya Moon Instagram. Yeah.
Okay, I don't think I was aware of that part. I think I remember you talking about the Beverly Line.
Yeah.
I don't know. I thought she just reached out and told you congratulations.
Yeah, no.
I didn't realize it was that big
and beyond.
Yeah,
Beverly
and
Line.
told somebody else because she was that impressed with it.
Yeah.
You get me, quite rightly so. So yes, the next question was like, what customers does your book attract? And clearly, it's got a wide scale because parents buying it for gifts for their children, people buying it to read it and stuff. So
and as I said, after the George Floyd incident, everybody wanted to buy black. Everyone wanted to expose their children to different ethnicities, different cultures. And so while my target audience was for young black children, like I love the fact that, any child can read this book.
Of course, because it is for everybody.
It's for everyone.
It's good for, children to see things and people that look like them. Do you know what I mean? Because growing up, I didn't see that. So it's really good. I don't remember seeing any little books written by black authors or that had any like black characters in it, to be honest. So it's good. Do you know what I mean? On the shelves now, you'll see a variety, which is good.
Right, yes.
All different types of books, not just one type, but all types for everybody,
Yeah.
And yeah, so like, I know you said that like the book, you can relate to it to a certain extent, but you never intended to write a children's book. So is there any reason why you stuck to writing a children's book and you didn't like more write, like you said, you do poetry, like why you didn't write a book on poetry or some of the other things you're interested in?
That's a very good question. So I think it was just my focus was taken away from my poetry and my short stories for a little while to concentrate on the children's book. But my first love is poetry. And as I said, from young, I've always wanted to write a book. When I was younger, all I did was read. I always say to people that reading saved my life. Books saved my life.
And it's so informative. You learn a lot from them. Do you know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. And so that was, and there's still time, there's still time for me to write that novel or, publish that poetry book. But I think my focus went onto the children's book for so long, and then after like the pandemic, life happened.
Of course, and then it changed. Life changed to what we know it, to be honest.
Right, life happened, and then it was the whole writer's block thing, and I'm hoping at some point I will be able to publish that, at least the poetry book, and then the novel.
And that was my next question. You see, girl, you talk a lot. The next question was, no, that's fine. You went into it, only a little bit, you went into it. Yeah, so it was like, could you share with us if you have any other books or any other ideas that you're looking to put into action that we can see coming from you?
Well, I have my poetry. As I said, I have poems, which you can find on my Instagram. And it's under at Poetus, Poetus. You can see some of my short poems. I haven't, as I said, life happened. I haven't updated my Instagram in a very long time, but there are my poems that's written on there that I wanted to make an anthology. And that, as I said, it will happen because I've got hundreds of poems that I just need to put together and get it published.
And at the end, we're going to give you the chance to say all the socials so people know where they can go, one, buy the book, and where they can go and look at your poems and other things that you do.
Yep.
Yeah, so in the past as well, you said you've done book days, and is it open days or events or
markets? Yeah, I went to markets, weekend markets to sell my books. I went to events to sell my book, which was very good because you get to meet other authors as well.
Also network.
Yeah, you get to meet people that are very interested in what you're trying to do, and they could point you in the direction of where else to go. So that was really helpful, and it's good to know that the Black Children Authors Network can be very
supportive.
Yeah, So when I first started writing the book, I didn't know what I was doing, right?
Yeah.
So I would reach out to authors who'd already done it and say, oh, what
Get
can
little
you...
tips.
And all I get was, oh, you just got to keep going. You got to try hard. Like, well, I know that.
So what did you want? Ideas for the book?
I know.
Why don't you say this?
What I wanted is you to point me in the direction. Oh, you can go here to get this published. You can do self-publishing. You can go on Amazon. You can go through. But they were not ready to give me that information. And I always said, once I publish my book, because I have the story,
would be more
I would
free
be
coming with
yes,
this information.
I'd be more receptive to people. So and when I published this book, so many people messaged me that I did a YouTube video.
Right.
And told them all the steps
Asking
that I
you.
did. Yeah, went through all the steps I did to publish this book. So anytime somebody messaged me and asked me, oh, so what did you... I'd say, oh, well, I've done a video. So here you go and go and watch the video.
So useful,
because it takes nothing from my work to tell someone, oh, go on Amazon and go through the self-publishing process. Like, it takes nothing from
And
from
that
me.
was what I was going to ask you. How did you find out? Because it's so difficult. Nobody was
Through
giving
research,
information.
I found that myself, and because I made a lot of mistakes, like so many
Of
mistakes
course,
up
so
to this
you've learned,
time.
yeah.
I've got like so many copies of, which is fine because it's all about the process, and as I said, you build skills.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, if you have the opportunity to help someone, what's
you do
the problem?
That, why hold back? Yeah.
So I promised that I would always be the help. I would help the person if this is what you do, because you're not taking money out of my pocket. Like, let me help you. Let me help you figure this out. You know,
And maybe they sensed that because you said so many came and asked you.
So many
when they
people
took a
came and
chance, it's like you
asked
took
me.
a chance, and you could have said,
Right.
you know what, just try hard, persevere, you'll get there. That is so good. So have you had a lot of views on that video? Because obviously that's very useful.
Yes. I've had a few views, and that's the thing, and that's because first of all, I find myself answering the same questions. So I thought, let me just do a video, and then when someone come and asks me, oh, how to do this, and I just send them the video.
Just
I said,
direct
oh,
them to the video.
everything's in there, you know. And I am very conscious that yes, there are some people who just want to take and don't give.
Yeah.
But if I can give, I'm going to give. Like, I'm not going to think what's that person doing for me. Yeah.
There's a lot of people writing books, and most people have to go through the same process. So
Right.
it's not like it's not a top secret. Do you know what I mean? It's like,
Right. Exactly.
it's not a big deal. Do you know what I mean? Right, yeah. So you said you've done events and you've had book days and stuff like that. I know as well. One time you read the book somewhere. Was that at a book day? Or?
Yes. I've gone to places to read books, events to read books, schools.
I remember in work one time before in the workplace.
I created a sensory story because I worked at the time.
Everything.
Yeah, at the time I worked at a special needs school, so I did a sensory story.
Yeah.
And this book works excellent as a sensory story. So that went down a treat as well. Yeah.
And okay, so other than Amazon, is there anywhere else where you can go and get the book, or is it only selling on Amazon?
It's on Amazon, and you can get it on W.H. Smith website.
Have they closed down now, W.H. Smith? Like, are the stores inactive now?
No, I think there's still what.
Okay, so you can't go into the store and buy it, but you can get it online.
You can get it online.
Okay, so online at W.H. Smith.
Foils online. Most of the bookstores online you can get it, because what Amazon does is that it
distributes to whoever wants it.
distributes to the other,
Okay,
which is what's so
cool.
amazing about.
So if you just pull
Amazon.
up the name on the internet, it should come
It
up
will
with
come up.
various places
Yes,
where you can
where
buy
you
it.
can buy it.
And it markets for, is it $8.99? Am I
Yes.
correct? $8.99. It's got 36 pages and it's aimed at ages 0 to 5.
Yes.
Okay. And the author, as we know, is Danelle Tanner Gabriel.
Taina Gabriel.
Tainer, my bad. We said that. And right, yeah, so anybody who was like trying to write a book, who might be having difficulties, who might feel like giving up, what would be your advice to somebody who wanted to write a book, either trying to start it or having problems writing a book?
Other than work hard.
Keep on going.
Well, yeah, that's also very important, but don't let perfectionism and lack of confidence be your downfall. Like, because it's just your thoughts and your feelings, and sometimes, and this is going to be very hard for people to hear, but sometimes your thoughts are not honest to you.
No, and they box you off. You know, it's not good to be too pessimistic. You must, for real, you must have belief in yourself, and you manifest things, the way you think, the way you speak, and it's true.
Sometimes your thoughts and your feelings not being honest to you. So, like, just take a moment.
Be nice to yourself.
Be
Do you know
nice
what I mean?
to yourself. Thank you. Be nice to yourself. Honestly, that's what it is. And because sometimes we don't have people who will take us out of that rut of negative thinking. So, So be optimistic. Yes, sometimes give a breather, because sometimes you do need that breather to kind of like think outside of what you've just written.
Yeah,
but always
definitely.
go back to it, and like go online and search about, look for, the amount of children's books I bought over the years, which was amazing because I had godchildren that I could give it to, but I made sure that I would read those books first and see the illustrations and how it was written and
get the story and
and see how the quality of the pages, because one of the things, no disrespect,
book again.
You'd get some self-published books and the quality just is not what it should be, but I wanted to make sure that the quality was great.
It's
and
lovely. Yeah, it's the colours and everything.
Yeah.
Front page, this belongs to, like, in books you get that where you can write your name, you know what I mean? So, it's yours. And the pictures and the, like you said, the illustrations, the colours, it's so bright, it's very nice. Yeah. And I'm sitting there reading her child a story.
Yes.
You get me? It's very, very good, people. Only $8.99, 36 pages. Yeah, very nice. Sorry, I just want to say big up to Dodge. He said hey. He said hey V, and he said hey D. And post up your links. Yes, exactly. So that's what we're going to finish off with. And Dodge said great advice. You know how we do, Dodge. So to make sure, hold on. Yeah, so can you tell us of all your socials again? So tell us again where you can go and buy the book, and tell us of all the socials where you've got your poetry and other things that are
so you can find my book on Amazon,
right.
And just type in Naya Moon Travels the World and it'll pop up, and you can just pop it up in Google as well and it will come up. You can find my poetry at Poetus, Poetus. You can read some of my poetry. And yeah, I hope, come and say hi,
No, definitely. And on my page, I'm going to post all your socials as well. So under today's video and the pictures will go, it'll be posted there so that people can go and see where to buy the book and they can't forget.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be cheeky and ask you, so do you think in a bit, could I pull a poem out of you?
Well, yes, I have to look for the poem, but yes.
Wicked. All right, but I'm going to give you a breather though. What I'm going to do, because you've done really great. So I want to say as well, I'm not finished with you yet, but I'm just thanking you for the interview side of it. So thanks again for coming down for the interview, and I hope you all the success of your book and with the other ones coming out and with your poetry. Yep. But we're not finished with her. We're going to have it for the rest of the show. So we're just going to take a little break, put some more music on, and then I'll give you a breather, and then you can, when we come back, Poetus, that's it, right? Is going to give us a poem or two, if I can squeeze two out of it. All right, so let me just fling on something.
You are in the world. You can listen to Choice FM UK London via the